Thank you. I would like to state now something completely different. Sugata told us yesterday there is not such a thing as memory. So I didn't memorize a speech. I have to construct it right now at this podium. Let me start by telling you that it was April the 10th in the year of 2014, and I was standing in the middle of the exposition venue of the Ferrari Museum in Modena. And suddenly all the lights went down and they started video. It was projected just around us all, and we looked at the life of Enzo Ferrari. And at that moment, I suddenly felt as happy as I was when I was a little boy. When I was a little boy, I built a go-kart with my friends. And the things we learned building that car were so important for us. We learned more building that car together than we could even learn in a year in our classroom at school. So it's important that learning isn't a process that is always taking place in the classroom, and it's not a process that takes place by listening to a teacher. As a matter of fact, I think that one of the main issues in education is that we always think that the teacher is the one that is constructing the education and is constructing the learning, but it's the other way around. I think that our students, our pupils, are the ones that are constructing the learning, and we as the teacher are able to help them achieve those goals. When we started to build the Steve Jobs schools in the Netherlands, we started the other way around. We thought it would be wise to give children the opportunity to decide for themselves what they wanted to learn and make sure that they were able, and make sure that we could help them by giving them their own devices and let them work in groups. As a matter of fact, if you look at it with a helicopter view, there are two movements. The one is going top down and the other one is going bottom up. And everything that is going top down is based on a real conservative thought and is based on consolidation of the current system. It happens in politics, it happens in schools, it happens in our educational system. And everything that is going to develop is going bottom up. So it's important to give people the room to develop their own movement and to develop their own systems bottom up. As a matter of fact, I always tell people that it's important to ask the question, who is owning the educational system? And I don't think it's the one that is giving education. The owner is the one that is receiving this education. So the children do own the educational system, and it's our job, our task, to help them develop for themselves. And there we face a few problems. As a matter of fact, when I heard Mr. Sugata yesterday, I thought he was much too polite to the current system. As a matter of fact, he was adapting something to the current system, but I think we need a revolution. When you listen to Sir Ken Robinson, for instance, he says to change the educational system, we need a real revolution, and I think he's right in that. The revolution started in that corner. Hello, Marco. We really need a revolution. It's no use to get stuck to the curricula we use in different countries and to decide for children what they should learn. Curricula are based on principles that are laying in the past, as a matter of fact, and they don't have anything that is innovative. And when you have to face future problems, and our children, our next generation, has to face future problems, you have to learn them different types of things. The most important things they have to learn are the so-called 21st century skills. I'm sure you heard of them. Because these skills make the children capable to face future problems. And there are lying a lot of future problems ahead of them. Problems we, the current generation, caused for them. We have the climate change, we have breaking down capitalism, we have breaking down a political system. There's a lot of change taking place right at this moment. It's a very confusing period of time, as a matter of fact. And children only will be able to face these future problems by learning the right skills. And the three things that Sugata mentioned yesterday are important as well. It's about comprehension, communication, and computing. And I always add three major kind of subjects to it. That it's nature, it's technology, and it's empathy. And empathy is very important for children. Need to work together and work in groups. I think one of the issues in our capitalistic way of living is that individualism has grown too fast, and working in groups and being responsible for the other people as well, was reduced, as a matter of fact. So people should learn how their behavior is influencing the behavior of other children as well. In Japan there is a teacher, it's Toshiro Kanamori. I hope you have heard of him. And Toshiro Kanamori in his group always tells the children how to respond and how to react and how to feel what your own behavior is doing with others. And that's a very important issue, for if you don't understand what your behavior is doing to others, you can't work in a group at all. And we have to work together in a group. That's because this society is a network society, and this society only will succeed if you work together. It brings me at the point that only bottom-up development is the way that we also can develop and can change the system we are living in. For instance, in the current system, also in our educational system, a lot of young people are getting depressed. I recently read that 20% of all young people are suffering from severe depression before they reach the age of 18. 20%. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you saw the movie Alphabet from Erwin Wagenhofer. There was part of this picture where we were in China and we saw what assessments were doing with the children in China. And it's a depressing part of the movie, I can state. They don't feel challenged by an assessment, they feel challenged by learning the right things to do. So if we don't want children to be depressed or to get a depression, we have to change the system that we are educating them in. And in my point of view, and that's where I thought that the Steve Jobs schools in the Netherlands were going at that point in the wrong direction, is that the democratic schools we have are far better in developing the need and the purposes that the children have for themselves. Democratic schools are better equipped for personalized learning than we reach with in the first year with the Steve Jobs schools. And I think that's a very wise and a good point for the democratic schools. As a matter of fact, the speech before me mentioned citizenship. Citizenship is in the Netherlands an important subject in all schools, but citizenship taught top-down is only used to maintain the system that we are in. And I think we should not teach children how citizenship is working in the current system. I think that they, in fact, the speaker told us, should do it for themselves. They should act in a democratic way, and that's a different type of learning than tell them what citizenship should be like. Act democratic is far more better than telling how it could work. Let me go back to the 3 pillars I mentioned: nature, technology, empathy. As a matter of fact, I think that in nature, in our environment, nature already has developed all the answers at our future questions. So nature has done everything we can learn. It's only, as a matter of speaking, and Goethe once said that everything is taken care of, everything is thought about. It's our duty to think of it again at the right time and in the right moment. So nature has done everything already, and it's to us and to our children to recognize what nature is solving for us and make that to our own solution. And we can use technology to achieve that solution. So they are in a good balance, as a matter of fact. And I'm always a bit disappointed when I walk into a school that a lot of schools have not the latest technique, have not the modernest computers. In fact, they are quite old-fashioned, and I think that our children should have the right to work with the latest technique and the modernest computers as well. And we don't have to teach them what computing is, they learn for themselves. Yesterday we saw the hole in the wall, and I'm convinced that the children are working far more easy with computing than our generation is for itself. As a matter of fact, I think that children are learning us to use devices and computers in the right way, and we can help them by setting the right set of questions to solve the problems that they would like to solve. So therefore they, don't need a curriculum. Sure, they need to read, they need to write, they need math, but further on they only need curiosity, and they only need to achieve the goals that they are setting for themselves. So there's always the question from the child itself: I want to find out that aspect of my life, can you help me? And that's quite different than teaching. As a matter of fact, I even don't believe that in 10 years' time we will have classes anymore. In 10 years' time, a lot of schools will disappear because there's only one aspect in life, and that's growing up. And education and our educational system is a small part of it. It's a very small part of growing up. And all we can offer children in growing up is enough space to develop their own set of skills and develop their own curiosity. As a matter of fact, Simon Sinek tells us it's very important for people to dream. People that don't dream are not able to change any system at all. And we simply have to change the way we are living. You see that in every aspect of life. You see that the financial market is going down. You see that capitalism is going down. Paul Mason wrote a very nice book. It's called Post-Capitalism. I was reading it on my way to Finland. Unfortunately, I left it in the plane. Everything is breaking down, and we have to build the society based on a new paradigm. That's the revolution Sir Ken Robinson is telling us about. And it's no use to stick to the old system. It's no use to make all those measurements, make all those assessments, and stick to a school that puts all children at the same age together in one class and say, well, you have to learn the things that I tell you. It works the other way around. Beer and Tag started in, I think, 1995 with the movement from teaching to learning. And learning is quite the opposite of teaching. That's the point that I really want to state when I'm here. And I think that democratic schools have far more opportunities to change the system because they listen to children very well. The current system, the traditional schools, aren't listening to children in the way that we are doing that in democratic schools. So I wish you a lot of success with your work at your school, and I hope that although you are called teacher, you will be able to help children learn just by sitting next to them and look at what they are doing for themselves. Thank you for your attention.